Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Leaguecraft 101. Today's episode is one that will hopefully resonate with many people and will answer a question that I get asked on almost a daily basis. Why do I have good KDA every game, but I can't win? So here's a classic example of a person in Silver 3. They're clearly proficient on Italy and have great KDAs, but they're losing all their games. So to juxtapose this, here's a screenshot of climbing my other account through Diamond 5. The KDAs look almost identical, but there's a clear difference in win rate here. If I or any other Diamond Plus player was playing in the Italy's games with the same teammates in Silver 3, we'd have at least the same or better KDA and be winning almost all the games, if not all of them. So what am I doing differently? Or rather, what is the Italy player not doing? To answer this question, let's look at the main steps that you need to do to carry a game. So in step 1, we all know that in order to carry a game, you need to be fed, or at least have an advantage over your lane opponent or enemy jungler, if you're playing jungle. So I outlined in episodes 1, 2, and 3, and 5, ways to get ahead of your lane opponent. This is the part that most people who are carrying do well relative to their opponents, hence the complaint of having a good KDA but losing. So just to rehash, here's a level 6 all-in that gets me my first kill in roughly 30 to 40% of my games when I'm playing solo lanes. I'd very much like viewers of this channel to at least master this particular technique. You lose nothing from using it, and the rewards can be huge, and potentially game winning. So step 2 is done pretty horridly by the majority of players, but it's still not the main reason why our friend Nidalee is losing these games. As a jungler, she probably is reacting quite well to action happening around the map. And as a laner, if you want to carry games, it's also imperative that you master this reaction roam and look at your minimap at least once every few seconds. So now let's take a quick look at some warding statistics from a typical game from each of us. Now our wards placed look quite similar, but hang on one second, just look at the wards destroyed row. In an entire 45-minute game, only one ward was destroyed in the Nidalee's game, compared to 52 in mine. So this brings me to the main point of the video. If you're fed and you're not denying vision, you might as well just not be fed. Being fed is the thing that allows you to control vision because your counterpart can't contest you 1v1 while you deward. How are you going to make progress if an enemy can see exactly what you're doing? It doesn't even matter if I have 20 kills if I'm trying to ambush someone in a bush that's warded. Unless they're blind, that player is never going to face check me, so I'm just wasting my time. This is why as soon as a diamond player gets fed in a silver game, which they're inevitably going to do due to their applications of step 1 and 2, they're going to buy a red sweeper, buy pink wards, strangle out the enemy vision so the enemy's forced to face check you in fog, which subsequently gets you more fed and gets you all the objectives on the map until you inevitably win. So how does this information help someone carry? So let's take a look at this example. We can see how after I've gained an advantage over the Vlad in mid lane, I can drop a pink in the side bush and then move on to sweep a bush inside their jungle. Vlad can't just follow me because I might be camping in this bush. He also can't push up the lane because I could also be doubling back to kill him. I can also be relatively sure I'm unseen by the enemy team unless the Lee Sin's warded his red buff. But if I've made it this far without being spotted, they're already donezo pretty much. At the aftermath of this roam, I'm now 6-1-2, we get bottom turret and dragon, and get a whole bunch of wards inside the enemy Lee Sin's jungle. As soon as I finish my core items and we have 2 or 3 upgraded sweepers, it's going to be very difficult for the enemy to claw their way back into the game, provided I continue to play well and don't throw. We'll continue to deny them vision in their jungle and around dragons, take all their jungle camps and force them to face check us or be slowly strangled out. So the moral of the story is, dewarding wins you games, while warding stops you from losing by sniffing out what the enemy team is doing. In silver and gold, you see a decent amount of people warding, but the dewarding component is unfortunately lacking, and that's where a lot of people fall down when trying to carry a game. I should note that it's extremely important that you carry wards as well as a sweeper, so that after you've swept a bush, you can track which bushes have been rewarded and then sweep them again. In this clip, I successfully sweep out a ward, but I don't have space for any wards in my inventory. There are now 2 potentially terrible things that can happen here. The first is if I go back to hide in that bush that I've just sweeped and they're waiting for me, I can get insta-gibbed. The second is if they've rewarded the bush now that my sweeper has run out. I have no way of knowing if the bush is clear or not unless they foolishly ward on the edge of the bush so I can see the ward flicker when they place it. This means that if I hide in that bush, I can't be 100% sure that it's clear. I could potentially be getting pincered from bot lane at any time. If the game was closer, I would have sold my Doran's Ring to buy wards, or just not bought my Aether Wisp and bought wards instead. This is so that I can be 100% sure that bushes that I've swept are actually clear. Luckily for me, the Braum hurriedly runs up to try and get vision on Dragon as it's coming up soon, and we get to insta-gib him. So we can see how de-warding gets the enemy to literally feed themselves up on a silver platter, and accelerates the game, allowing you to carry a lead through to a win. The final step to carrying a game is protecting your lead. If you're the strong person on your team and you die, it's not just, oh, I was 4-0-2 and now I'm 4-1-2, at least I still have a 6 KDA. No, the effect of your death reaches far further than that. As I discussed in the Twisted Fate commentary a few weeks ago, one death against decent opponents will just destroy the vision line that you've spent the last 5 minutes slowly creeping up, as they don't have to be scared of you waiting there to kill them. You also allow the enemy to drop down deep wards in areas that you've progressively been de-warding for the last few minutes. And to make matters worse, your team suddenly has to relinquish all control over objectives or be forced to fight a 4v5, which, without the carry, they'll inevitably lose. So that's it for this video. I hope it's given a bit of insight into why having a good KDA isn't carrying. Yes, it's important, but it's only one part of the big picture. So hopefully you guys learned something. As always, leave comments talking about the things you'd like to see and general feedback. In the next video, I'll be reviewing this particular Fizz game so you can see how we managed to convert this game into a win. So until next time guys, good luck on the Rift. Peace.